Hey, what a series! I mean, we were talking about it earlier. I mean, we were getting into the individuals. I mean, obviously, huge weekend for Cal and Solano and Canzone and everybody, but to beat the Cubs, who have scored more runs than every team in baseball except the Dodgers. They're in first place by a whole bunch over the Brewers. I mean, that's a really good team to go out there and take that series in those conditions. The heat, that wind was nuts. I mean, how big of a confidence boost is that to a team?
Yeah, huge, man. I mean, you said it. First of all, the team you're facing, you know all about them because, anytime, by the way, like a high-profile team has success, you hear more about them. It's just kind of natural, right?
Yeah.
And then also, too, you look at that lineup, man. Like, diving into it last couple of weeks, just when doing some of the more national stuff, you're like, man, they are like a complete team. They really are, like from top to bottom. And so you go into that series, tough. You lose to the Red Sox. As we did that series, and then you mentioned the conditions too, man. I'm telling you right now, like that gave me some PTSD because I remember walking into some places, you see the flags just going crazy. Even if they're blowing in, because there'd be like these wind swirls, and I was just like, oh man, it gives you the worst feeling ever. Anything in the air, you're like, please don't go, please just die somehow or get knocked down. It was brutal, and I saw a little bit of that with Emerson Hancock. As much as we always seem to bring him up, but I love the dude. But there was a little bit of that, pitching away from balls in the air, worried about some of that kind of contact. It was tough. But again, it was just offensively. I mean, God, Cal Raleigh, man. I mean, I was diving into some numbers before I jumped on with you guys as to what is he doing differently or how are guys pitching him differently. I mean, unbelievable. It's crazy. It's wild.
Yeah, we were talking to Mike Petriello, I think, and I don't know if you saw that article. It was something about, he called it the big thumper instead of the big dumper, but he was talking about how he's getting out in front of pitches and how he is pulling it and also just getting higher bat speed to the ball. And I'm sure all of that stuff is great, but like there's something else going on there, right? I mean, he's seeing it.
Man, easy ever. I'll get to some of the approach numbers in a second, but just on that too. Okay, so like anytime, because we talk a lot about Julio and a lot of the average is good. There's a bit of swing and miss here, but where are the home runs? Last time around was May 27th. And I think I spoke to you guys about this. And I remember someone on the text line was like, "No, that's the worst thing ever." I talked about this on a couple post games. Look, with Julio, you talk about Cal pulling the ball, right? It's important. I know everyone thinks going to right center field, that Edgar approach. When you're a power hitter, you have to get the ball on the pull side, and you have to do it in the air, right? So Julio Rodriguez, I know we're talking about Cal here, but look, Julio's hard contact rate and some of the exit off the bat to the pull side is really good. However, he's up there 67 to sometimes 70% ground ball on the pull side. And so when, I know Mike Petriello loves looking at some of the bat angles and everything else. Julio has one of the flattest swings. I talked to you guys about that. And he's where he's connecting to, it's for whatever reason, he's up further on the plate. Like he's one of the furthest up when you're talking about how close he is to the pitcher. He's not deep in the box. J.P. Crawford, on the other hand, for give you an example, he's one of the deepest guys on the dish. And so it's tough for him. And the way they're pitching him in, if you look at some of the contact points of pitches, inner half of the plate against Julio Rodriguez, none of that is going to the pull side. It's all inside out to the right side. Now I get it, man. He can still put enough on a ball and have better contact rates hitting the ball to right field. But something with Julio, if there was an element there where he can pull the ball with authority and get it in the air, that would be huge. Just the bat angle. On the flip side, you look at Cal when you're talking about the attack angle. I'm just, because you're going off the Mike Petriello conversation, because I know he dives into that stuff too. Man, his attack angle and where he's catching the ball out in front, it's elite. Like the amount of times he's able to get to that place, to put that really good swing where the bat's meeting the ball on the upswing and out in front, and catching those balls out in front is huge. Now, as for the approach, it's interesting. You look at the month of June, you'd kind of think that if you've got a power hitter, you're going to be getting pitched inside the strike zone less. Well, he kind of is, right? So guys are pitching him less inside the strike zone, but Cal's not waiting around at all. He's seeing, so if you go back to April and May, he was seeing, 4.5 pitches per plate appearance, right? Now he's looking at 3.4 pitches per plate appearance. You look at he's hit 12 home runs on the first pitch. He's swinging a ton in the first 3 pitches of an at bat. So he's just being super aggressive. He's taking some of that Julio aggression and getting after it. He's got like a huge swing rate early on in counts. And so I'm looking at this going, hold on, well, why are guys, pitching to him? And I think, too, what's going on as well, guys are trying to get to 2 strikes against him with secondary pitches, but he's just not letting it happen, man. He's the contact, the hard hit rate on secondary pitches is through the roof. So I think with Cal, I love this approach. What I think is going to happen is I think that the walk rate's going to go up a little bit. Guys are going to start pitching outside the strike zone a little bit more against him. And I feel like he may even get that to the not this drastic. I mean, Barry Bonds' intentional walk. I mean, he got intentionally walked one year 122 times. I don't see it getting that drastic. But I have a feeling that maybe this home run rate, even though there's a couple of wind-assisted balls on the weekend, it may dip because teams at some point, man, they cannot keep pitching to him. Even with secondary pitchers trying to sneak in breaking balls in the strike zone. He's just... Something's going on, Dave, to your point, man, where if you're in the zone, if in the strike zone, everything he's getting in the strike zone, man, it's hitting with authority. And so it's fun to watch. Keep it going. I'm all for it.
I just want it to be noted that you brought up Julio without provocation. We did not bring him up. we get texters saying, "Why are you guys so mean to Julio? You guys are always ripping on him." And look, I couldn't be a bigger Julio fan, but the facts are the facts, and I'm watching him. And Ryan, I don't know if he squared a ball up the entire series. I mean, he's way out in front of the off speed. He's behind the fastball. I don't understand if he's just trying too hard or what. He hit a couple to the ivy that I didn't think he squared up, but I just want to see him hit I don't care if he makes an out at this point. I want to see him I want to see triple digits off the bat, line it to the shortstop. Fine. That just tells me, all right, he's getting there. He's seeing it. Yeah. He's barreling the ball up. I feel like I haven't seen that in a while.
Yeah, well, you're right.
He's just beating the ball into the ground. I mean, so many grounders.
Yeah, no, there is. The ground. So we went from April, ground ball rate above average, to May, where he cut down on that a little bit. Wasn't like one of the best. It wasn't like he was all of a sudden launching balls. To all of a sudden June right back there. And then you look at some of some of the swing and miss rate has gone up a little bit against him. So, like for example, the strikeout rate went from May 12%, now all of a sudden it's 24%. In the in zone contacts dipped back down to the April May levels as well. So look, some of that stuff. Look, the reason why I think with Julio, we know how amazing that guy can be. He is a specimen. He's a dude who that like physically, when everything lines up, he'll hit balls to the moon. We know that. Well, he'll hit balls off balance to right field out. We know that too. And so sometimes our expectations, and they should be, are through the roof with Julio. Look, it's not like he's all of a sudden just failing miserably whatsoever. But I'm with you, Bob. I'm right there with you. Every time I watch him hit, and I watch the way guys pitch him, and I'm seeing him, and it's not like they're perfect inside pitches either, man. Mm-hmm. There's pitches middle in, a little bit of sink maybe, but his approach and the swing against it. Is that inside out, hit the ball to right center field. Now, again, like I said, if you are a guy that wants to just hit right center field doubles and that's your motive, have at it. But this is Julio Rodriguez, man. I'm telling you, if I look at this and go, all right, because I always look at it through a pitcher's lens. If I'm going to pitch someone inside, man, if I'm mediocre, I have to be like really good in there. However, I'm looking at this going, of course I'm going to pitch Julio Rodriguez in because anything middle in, it's not a mistake is not going to leave the ballpark. A mistake's going to get hit in the right center field. I can live with that with him because I know how good he is. And so that's the tough part. So again, look, I think if he gets on a tear where all of a sudden that pitch middle in gets driven if he's going to keep going to right center inside out balls and they just keep getting hit over the fence and a mistake costs you a home run, not just a single, they may start, letting him get his hands extended a little bit until he can show that pitch that spins or has that, inner half with 94, 95 miles per hour. Until that ball doesn't get hit into left field in the air, not on the ground. We talked about the 67% on the ground. When that ball gets hit in the air, until then, man, I'm with you. I would just continue pitching the way they are.
You ever have a game like that, Ryan, where you saw Trent Thornton that, he just looked like he was going to die out there? I mean, and it sounded like he did everything right, but have you ever had an experience like that?
I've had heat. In regards to heat, I've been pretty good. Grew up in Australia.
You can handle it. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I'll be honest with you, that altitude has got me a couple times. It got me I remember in a bat versus Carlos Gonzalez, I threw 3 pitches. I didn't know what planet I was on. I swear. And I remember I was just like I think I tipped my cap to him because I threw this hanging, just rubbish breaking ball. I was so lightheaded. I struggle with altitude, right? Yeah. I was so lightheaded. And I didn't want, you don't want to say anything. And I remember I threw this terrible breaking ball. He popped it up and he slammed the bat down. And I just wanted to walk over and say thank you because the inning was over. Because I just needed to get to sit down. My heart rate was through the roof as well. I was struggling. And by the way, there was another time when I was in the minor leagues, not heat related. I've never had the heat issue. I've been lucky in that regard, but the altitude has got me a couple times.
Hey, as far as what we saw from pitchers, how do you grade it? How do you look at it? Because the wind was so crazy out there. And we were talking earlier about, I mean, everybody was struggling with it. Outfielders, pitchers, what have you. But Emerson Hancock goes 4 innings, gives up 9 runs. I'll give him this. He's rock solid. He's 5 1/3, 2 runs, 6 innings, 3 runs. He's always keeping your team in the game. But when he doesn't, he really doesn't. I mean, he gives up 9. He gives up 7. He gives, his blow-ups this year have been big blow-ups. And how much of that do you look at as, hey, man, this guy was just catching way too much of the plate, leaving it there, and how much of it was the elements were crazy, coupled with maybe, lack of command, if you will?
Yeah, so I look at that just on Emerson. I want to get to George Kirby, actually, because there's some things in regards to him. But I think you mentioned Emerson Hancock. It's this, right? You watched the game yesterday. You know who you're facing. The Cubs, when you go over the scouting report, like, oh, man. When you look at, whether it be the heat maps or what they've done or, guys similar to you or whatnot, it's all of a sudden it's like, whoa, like sometimes not good to look at those scouting reports because you're like, oh, man. And what happens is, and then all of a sudden you get outside and you can feel that wind just blowing in your face, right? And so what do? You naturally go, okay, I don't want to throw to this part of in this part of the plate. I don't want, especially early in counts. And what happens? I get behind 1-2-1, 3-1. And then that's where the damage happens because I don't want to be walking dudes, right? He had that one inning where, you could see him. He's just kind of teetering, and then whack. It got him. So there's that. You can't, again, I'm not sitting here. He's not walking in after a game, and neither did I ever. It's on you. It's self-inflicting. You're not walking and go, oh, well, the wind's howling. I'll just, skip that one. No. It's because subconsciously, that every time you go 1-0, 2-0 and you're nibbling because you're pitching away from that, those a mistake is a home run as opposed to a single. It, man, and you just want to whack yourself over the head and say, come on, you're better than that, because you get in those at-bats where it's like, if I just attack, I'm going to be all right, and I'm going to put them on the back foot. Now, George Kirby is interesting, man. I'm watching him throw, and I've seen this, not just this game in Chicago, and he's far enough removed from the shoulder issue. His split is flat out, it's just non-existent at all. And I'm like, man, look, I got nothing against his breaking ball to lefties, nothing against it whatsoever. There was a good 5 to 6 times in that game, the crucial counts, especially when you can put hitters away and then it's foul ball, or a take. The split, for whatever reason, you can see him, he's still gripping it in his glove. Mm-hmm. He's just not confident with that pitch at all. He needs that, man. If you're going to have these lineups that have these 6-7 lefties in them, that split it's so good. You look at some of the numbers going 2 years ago, it was sub 100 batting average against, tons of swing and miss, ton of chase. Last year, he struggled. It was really inconsistent. This year, it's just a pitch where A, is not going to, or B, it's just not effective. He needs to find that pitch. He really, really does. And he's so talented. He can command the ball so well. that you just think, okay, is it that bullpen session with an extra day off or whatever where you can get after it at full speed and try and find that pitch? Because I'm sitting there going, man, no. Like, what are we going on these breaking balls against these lefties for? Here's a comparison for you, right? He pitched against the Angels and he punched out, 14 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Well, how many righties are in that lineup? Man, he can just sit there and go, all right, I'm going to go 2 seamer starts away and get that freeze on the outer half. I can do that to lefties too. However, the other thing they've got to protect against is that breaking ball. When he's got these lefty lineups, he had that against who did he face last time? The Cleveland Guardians as well. And then he faced the Cubs. Well, okay, I can run that 2-seamer in the front hip to a lefty, but guess what, man? They don't have to protect against anything down and away with that split. They can sit everything middle in, and they can start eliminating areas and eliminating pitches, and that's where he gets hit. So that's a little concerning, but with him, he's so good, man. I just think that's maybe the extra bullpen session to feel it or mess with that, manipulate that grip a little bit. He needs that pitch because these lineups are going to just keep bulking up these lefties against him, and they're going to do some damage, which what they did with the Cubs lineup.